Okay, to cap this thing off, I actually had this like written down like a little bit of a while ago, and I think this was because of something that I didn't illustrate well enough in my Constantine 2005 video, and in that where I say Gabriel being a half-breed makes no sense, where I think I did a poor job. I'm not saying why. Now, going a little Bible thumpy here, and I apologize for that, but a little Bible nerd here. But if you don't know, if you don't go to if you don't read or you don't go to Sunday school, you don't know the stories and stuff like that, Gabriel is one of the top angels. He's one of the the earlier ones. So making him and Constantine a half-breed, something that was established later on, at least in regards to the film. I'm talking the film. Half-breeds are something that are, as seen on the wiki, because that's the only source I can get, is that they're a cross between an angel or a demon with a human. Either or. So, but them making Gabriel a half-breed kind of screws things up a little bit, and also makes things confusing as to how long the balance was established. Now, I will make a comparison here in a bit, but originally, before I rewatched the film for that video, I was under the impression that the balance happened after Christ's birth or death. That was what I thought. But them showing off Gabriel and then me looking into it a bit more is like, okay, well, that's a bit of a contradiction. That shows us that one, the balance is much older than that, and that either A, the balance happened soon after the war in heaven and Gabriel just wasn't there, or B, this happened sometime in the Old Testament. I know that makes me sound a little like Bible nerdy here, but that's kind of my thing. Now, in regards to the script, and this is something they didn't put into the movie, and I might do my own video in regards to the script, because the script actually is a lot closer to Hellblazer in a few sense. How Ellie is introduced, funny enough, is very much how she's introduced in the comics. But there's a funny line in the script where Ellie's fighting John at the hospital, because they actually have a scuffle, and it's actually Midnight that's there, not Chaz. Now, she says something funny. She says, "I'm not going back." So that pretty much confirmed what I thought, originally, that that half-breeds are just a name. Half-breeds are just a name. They are in fact angels or demons, just given lesser forms, human forms. Which I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. Why didn't they do that? And I'm gonna make a comparison to another series here, and this is me segueing into prophecy. And now I've recently, this was a week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I've lost track of time, but I have my notes already. But I devised a better timeline in that through lines of dialogue, what's established in the film, and what the characters say, all from that. And I was able to come across it was much easier to make a timeline from that than it was in Constantine.
Did you ever notice how in the Bible, whenever God needed to punish someone or make an example, or whenever God needed a killing, he sent an angel? Did you ever wonder what a creature like that must be like? A whole existence spent praising your God, but always with one wing dipped in blood. Would you ever really want to see an angel?
In regards to the prophecy series, where Gabriel is in that, and funny enough, he is a villain in that, in the first 2 movies at least. In that universe, we already are told what we learn in the Bible: the war in heaven, Lucifer's fall, and his army, they go to hell, and Lucifer is donned and named Satan and he used to rule in hell. We know that story. But in the world of prophecy, soon afterwards, there was a second war. That war was with Gabriel and his fallen angels because of his jealousy of humanity. But unlike Constantine, unlike Constantine, it's easier to come across a timeline with that, where Gabriel actually tells you straight up that I'm an angel. I've killed firstborns while their mothers watched. I've turned cities into salt. Those are two stories.
I'm an angel. I kill firstborns while their mamas watch. I turn cities into salt. I even, when I feel like it, rip the souls from little girls. And from now till kingdom come, the only thing you can count on in your existence is never understanding why. You, give me a kiss.
And upon further inspection, you can come across like other like notes and stuff like that, that it's clear like either around Christ's birth or death is when that second war happened. So it makes more sense there in comparison. Yeah, like it's really good. So in regards to prophecy, like the first 3 films, because those are the only 3 that I'll watch, recommend, or even consider happened, are actually really solid. Thomas, the main character, one of the main characters, is someone who, like, as he says in the beginning monologue, is someone who lost his faith for seeing too much, where he was about to become a priest, but during that he gets flashes of like the second war in heaven. He sees like angels dying and stuff like that, and he's like screaming in agony, and since then he loses his faith. And then as the film like progresses and he learns about like what these things are, because he's a detective in the movie, and like a scuffle actually happens between like Simon, a good guy angel who plans to thwart Gabriel's plans to end humanity, and Thomas is investigating this. And among this, when this is happening and he's trying to like uncover all this mystery, he's slowly gaining his faith back. And once he realizes and tells Catherine, the secondary main character, the teacher of the little girl who Simon hid the of soul of a like a essentially a war criminal. Like, let's just be fair, if Captain Walker survived Spec Ops: The Line and he actually came back and he was still batshit insane, that's basically the soul. That's basically the soul hidden within her. Now, Viggo Mortensen plays the devil in this, and he shows up to Catherine, and he also shows up to Thomas as well, and they actually have a bit of a talk about like what is an angel's most like powerful like tool for himself. It's like it's faith.
And there's your weapon. Think, Thomas. Think. What is the one thing essential to an angel? The thing that holds his entire being together. Faith. Faith. And what would happen if that faith was tested and an angel just like you didn't understand? Use that.
And that, like, I was like, oh shit. Like, I was actually like shocked when I rewatched this recently, because I'm like, holy shit, like they're actually doing that. They're actually like doing a storyline where Thomas actually like is gaining that faith back, and that is actually an actual through line, an actual theme of the story, of where Thomas even tells Gabriel when they're fighting, because there's actually a group of people trying to exorcise the soul out of the girl, and he's fighting Gabriel, and he says, I know what it's like to feel like you're abandoned because like God doesn't talk to you. There's that silence, and like in a way you resent him for that because you feel jealous. And I'm like, holy shit, like that's actually well done.
I'm not an angel. I'm just a man, which means I got something you don't. It's a soul.
This is gonna really hurt.
Your war.
Make it good.
Your war is a lie. It's not about humans. It's about God.
What do you know about that, you monkey?
I don't have to, Gabriel. I know you. I know what it's like to be ignored, pushed aside. I know your anger, Gabriel. I know what it's like to lose your faith in the Word. I know. Because you hate him. You hate him just a little bit. Because you're jealous. That's what this war's about. Jealousy. Jealousy that he could love something more than you.
And at the very end, where Lucifer kills, quote unquote, Gabriel. Well, he does, but I'm gonna get into that in a bit. Like, Lucifer tells him, "No, I'm gonna take all of you with me," and Thomas is like, "No, you're not." And he like taunts him and tells him, I love you more than Jesus." And he says, "No, like, I have my faith, I have the word." And he leaves, and like Lucifer leaves, and that's the movie ends like soon after that.
I have my soul, and I have my faith. What do you have, Angel? Leave the light on, Thomas.
Is he coming back? I don't think so.
Which I thought was actually pretty good. Now, like, I think the theme of faith is done really well in the first film. I think my biggest issue with Thomas isn't in this film, but it's what happens in the next film, and there's a slight spoilers. Thomas gets killed off like in like the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film, in the second film. Like, Prophecy 2 and 3, 4 and 5, pretty much all the sequels are straight to DVD, straight to VHS films. Granted, 2 and 3 are one of the better ones out there, I would say that. I think this and Dragonheart and maybe a few others are some of the better ones that actually have good straight to VOD or VHS sequels. But I digress. But like, they either A, should have kept Thomas out of the story completely for the sequel, or B, not killed him off, because I think them killing him off wasn't smart. I think it was just dumb for dumb drama, especially since it's not the same actor playing him. But either way, I do think that his character in this was really solid. The character dynamics are actually pretty good. That's something that I like a lot. Now, Prophecy 2 and 3, and I kind of wrote this in my little Discord text review as well. If you watch 2 and 3 back to back, it's a good follow-up. Like, it's a good 3-hour sequel, because they share the same through line, where one's story is technically wrapped at the end, 2 starts something else completely, where another angel, Daniel, impregnates a woman, and on purpose to basically give birth to the next savior of humanity, a new Nephilim, but for this time, a Nephilim is something that will actually save the world rather than end it. And that will be Daniel Jr., because she names him after the angel. Now, I will definitely say 2 and 3, my biggest issues with that film is the fact that how short they are. It's quite clear the writers and directors had concepts they wanted to explore, but they could not explore them in the time span they needed. And I can even say that about the first film, and I think I wrote this down here. Yeah, Prophecy 1 feels like a 2-hour film crunched to 1 hour and a half, while Prophecy 2 and even 3 to an extent feel like 2.5 hour to 3 hour films crunched down to 1.5 hour or hour and 20-minute films. That's what it really feels like, because 2 like has a clearly hints at more concepts, and even 3 hints at more concepts. There's a lot of stuff that comes in near like the later half of it that is just breezed right past, and I'm like, there is definitely more footage, and I guarantee the scripts were longer, but they had to cut it down for time, budget, limitations, you name it. I bet it was a myriad of issues. I still like them. It's just there's potential for those movies to be even like better than they actually ended up, which is a damn shame. 2 does feel more so like a setup to the next film. Like I said, it works as one movie, because 2 feels like it is setting up the next movie, where how important this baby actually is, and then we actually like get to the third film and we actually see him like as a young adult, and we follow him, and he essentially beats the quote-unquote Antichrist in a way. Granted, that the main antagonist in that movie was just introduced at almost the 11th hour. I mean, we're told about him like halfway through the film, but we don't get a real establishment with his character. The scenes he is in kind of involve a weird orgy mountain.
Turn away, Nephilim.
It's never really explained. I think it's hinting that it's like a mountain of death, maybe. I don't know if it's either angels or demons, or if this is like a weird version of hell or something that we're seeing visions of. It's a weird thing. Yeah, but still, I do think the stuff that is there, I think it's done well to the best that they can. I think they do a good enough job. Alright, Priel, like the angel of genocide, shows up at the 11th hour. Like, he's told, like, we're told that, oh, this will be like the next god, like the next war is gonna happen, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, ooh, waste opportunity. Like, have him actually partake in the narrative. Don't just give us this Angel Jones, who is just Gabriel 2.0. Well, our Gabriel is basically the good guy now because he's rendered human, and he learned the good of humanity and stuff like that. Where we're given, like, Daniel Jr. is given flashes and stuff like that, and we see this, and also when he's meeting up with Priel, I can't say his name. Like, they're having a conversation in the middle of the desert, and we get flashes of this weird orgy that happens around them, and is never really established. Like, I even like try to look this up and saying, okay, is there more to this? Is this a representation of something? Is this like a bit of an embodiment of hell? Is this like a bit of a graveyard? Is there more to this? I don't know. Like, prophecy isn't the type, it isn't like a Aronofsky film. Like, it's never been that. I think, oh yeah, another thing that I did not bring up in regards to talks of the first film, we don't know the state of heaven. We don't know the actual state of things. We're told that, like, no, I'm just gonna show you the scene because this part confused the hell out of me.
Hello, Catherine. We must talk.
Oh my God.
God? God is love. I don't love you.
I can't do this.
I can lay you out and fill your mouth with your mother's feces. Or we can talk.
Are you a part of it?
No, Catherine. Other angels have made this war because they hate you. They've never been able to conquer the other loyal angels, and so this war has remained in stalemate for thousands of years. And while this state of affairs endures, no soul can meet its God. Your parents and their parents and so on from the beginning lie still in wormy earth.
Of course, some of them do come to me eventually. For while heaven may be closed, I am always open, even on Christmas.
That is not explored. So, for what? Like, how long now? Humanity, like, has been in purgatory? This is something that I don't think was explained that well. We're told this by the freaking devil of all people, so we should obviously take this with a grain of salt. But that's one of my issues with this is that there's a few things that aren't explored that well. That also could be a bit of a lead up to some other horror aspect to this world. That, oh shit, like, humanity hasn't been going to heaven at all. Heaven has been closed off. So either everyone's been going to either purgatory or hell, or maybe just hell. And you can actually put some more tension in that if you wanted to. but they don't treat it like it's the big, like, holy shit moment that it is. It's just a line drop. It's just a casual line drop that Louis gives Catherine, which that bugs me a bit. This is one more point. Now, okay, so Lucifer kills Gabriel by, and angels die by you ripping their heart out, which, okay, I like that. It gives them a form of mortality despite being immortal. It's kind of like the Immortals in Highlander. There's still a threat, right? Because you're still vulnerable in a way. You're just not conventionally vulnerable like a human, which I like. Now, Lucifer rips his heart out and eats it and kills Gabriel. And we see what might be a demon like drag Gabriel like out of the tent. Now, in the second film, Lucifer for some reason just lets Gabriel out of hell. And there's a couple questions I have there still. There's still a few questions I have there. Like, one, angels can go to the afterlife? Either or? Like, is there an actual death for them? This is something that isn't actually established, pretty much. Like, because, right, Gabriel dies in the first one. Okay, he's in hell. Okay, I buy that. But it's not explained thoroughly. That's my thing. It's never established that, no, there's an extra step for us. We can't really fully die, but we can't just return on a whim. Which I'm like, okay, that's an explanation, but they don't do that. They don't give you an explanation. Also, Louis letting him go just for reasons I don't like. Like his actual like line before he lets him go is, "I'm sorry, Gabriel, but hell isn't big enough for two of us." So I'm like, okay, why? Like, why are you letting him go? Like, you generally just don't care, or you're just trying to screw over humanity? Like, what's the point of this? And Gabriel's just gonna do his antics anyway. Like, he's still trying to screw over humanity in the second film. So it's like, what the hell was the point of that? That kind of negates what his that negates like what his motivation for fighting Gabriel was in the first film. Unless there was more to a plan. I don't really know, and I doubt this is addressed in the other films, because Gabriel is not in the other films as far as I'm concerned. So, which, whatever. I might give these another rewatch just in case if I want to do another examination. And I don't know if I'll ever like do my own little like analysis of it at some point. I do think it does a better job of it, exploring like faith and stuff like that. Like, its themes I think are pretty good, and I hate saying that because video essay has ruined the talk of like themes and stuff like that, and discussing that and stressing like through lines in films. But I do think Prophecy does like a good job of establishing them and having them like work and is intertwined into the narrative, you know, and is intertwined in the characters. Like Thomas and Gabriel being literal antithesis of each other, which again is generally the reason why I do not like them killing off Thomas in the second one. Like, wasted opportunity. They should have kept Thomas alive, and honestly, had these things been different, Thomas should have been the main character in all three films, and Gabriel should have been the villain in all three films. But that is like fanfic territory where each film will be different than what we got. But I actually like what we got. I do think the stuff that is there is interesting. I think some of its lore and the characters are good. I think the storyline in 2 and 3 are actually pretty solid, minus some issues. I do still stand by that. I do think that they are stories that should have been much longer and would have benefited had they been full releases and not straight to like VHS or DVD. That's the big criticism I have for those movies, to be honest, as well as a few others. But But yeah, like overall, I do like these films, and I do think they're underrated. Minus their issues, I do think they're really solid. I do think they have cool ideas. I do think that the ideas should have been explored more thoroughly, though. I think they're better than a lot of the other fallen angel, like urban fantasy or Slayer, like fantasy stuff we've gotten in the last like 10 or so years, thanks to like what was it, Shadowhunters, that type of shit. Like, it's better than that. It's more akin to that of like Constantine stuff, like Hellblazer stuff, like Angel, and like more grim dark type stuff, which I like, and it does a good job of not being, it doesn't pull any Stephen King type nonsense, doesn't vilify God in a Redditor type way. It feels very mature in a sense, and actually feels like an actual like narrative. It doesn't feel like it's preaching anything, and the stuff that feels like, I wouldn't say like any stuff that it is quote unquote preaching for, it's very well done. It's intermingled with the story, it's intermingled with the characters, and it fits. So I think I'll end my discussion with Prophecy there. But yeah.